Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Scoops AFLW Trade Period Final Day Deadline Recap. The last day's wheelings and dealings. Over 13 trades. Yes, over 13 trades. When I ended the video last night, there was 3 new players added to Geelong. In fact, make that 4, 1 via a trade, 2, 3 delisted free agencies, and 1 as an Irish player. Fremantle also added an Irish woman as well. We're going to go through those deals and the hectic day it was today on the last day. So please subscribe, share this around. I would really appreciate it. Now, I'm only going to go through today's proceedings. If you want a club-by-club recap, we'll be doing that in most likely tomorrow in a new video. So this will be about those trades late last night and all the trades today. So let's get right into it. So yesterday, Geelong added Stevens from the Saints. Look, it was unfortunate to lose Stevens, who was a 32-year-old, had a good career at the Saints when she was there. But Geelong get Stevens and a future third rounder from the Saints, and the Saints get a future second. Now, I'm happy we got a future second for her, but what I'm not happy about is that we gave a future third back. The contracted player should have been only a future second back for us, and they get the player. But it is what it is. Whatever. If we finish top 8, that third rounder might be in the 50, 60 range. So really, I don't care as much, but I'm a bit disappointed that they just gave them that. If it was a fourth rounder, then whatever, but third, you're starting to go, whatsoever. Well, on to Stevens on joining Geelong, as I mentioned in yesterday's video. Now, Geelong, they've also signed Port Adelaide duo Alyssa Brooke and Jasmine Stewart as free agents. One on to Alyssa. Alyssa's been a good key defender. Port Adelaide will go along with Jasmine Stewart, who's played up forward, both as free agents. And they've also signed Irish woman, 27-year-old halfback winger, they call her position-wise, Emma Murray. So on to Liz, Jasmine, and Emma for all joining Geelong. Geelong had like 8 list spots at this stage. They've used 3 up here. Not game changers, but Alyssa Brooke probably feels a need in the key position stocks. They lost Meg McDonald, and their back line they're good, but she's also young and inexperienced as well, like some of the ones they've already got. So interesting. But on to Liz in particular, and Emma and Jasmine as well. And Fremantle have signed AFLW. Freo AFLW have signed Irish rookie Aoife Healy, a 21-year-old. So on to Aoife Healy. We wish her all the best. Now, before I get into the trades of today, I must announce that Mick Stenier, former Melbourne AFLW coach, the longest-serving AFLW coach in AFLW history, who has been Melbourne's coach since the start for 10 years in a row, is now the new coach of the Geelong AFLW side, where Dan Lowther is now the Werribee VFL men's coach. But Mick Stenier, the new Geelong AFLW coach, went on to Mick. That's a great move for Geelong. Geelong fans should be really happy with this move. Mick's a proven coach at the level. Melbourne have been a successful club since its inception. Finals, grand finals wins, appearances, deep in finals all the time, always make finals. Maybe Geelong might be on the right path with Mick at the helm. Went on to Mick and Geelong, I guess, actually making the right move for once. Geelong have had some good moves this trade and off season, but a few moves in the trade period are a bit meh for me. But off field, they've done really well, and the ones that let go pretty much. Now, the first official trade of the day, today, gee, I can't speak, I was stuttering there, apologies, is Taylor Smith has joined the Swans in a 3-way trade. Brisbane, Sydney, and Hawthorn. So basically what's happened here was that with the help of Hawthorn, so Hawthorn benefit out of it because they helped out. So Sydney get Taylor Smith, picks 18, 28, and 46. They lose 11, a future first, 29, 47, and a future third. So really they gain Taylor Smith, 18 and 28. They're the big 3 parts of their ins. The big outs are 11, a future first, and 29, which is around like 28, 29 cancels each other out. Future first and 11. 11 is better than 18, obviously. Taylor Smith's probably better than a future first. So it evens itself out. So Sydney did pretty well out of this. Brisbane, they got pick 11, 15, 29, 33, and 47. They lost Taylor Smith, 18, 28, 46, a future third, which is tied to Port, and their own future third. So really, the main picks here for Brisbane, they gain 11, 15, 29, and 33. They lose Smith, 18 and 28. So 29 and 28 cancel that out. So they really gained 11, 15, 29 and 33 for Taylor Smith and 18. So They did really well out of this as well. And Hawthorn, for helping out, they gained a future first of the Swans, 3 future thirds, all tied to Sydney, Brisbane, and Port Adelaide. They lost 15 and 33. So the only thing they really did was they swapped from the current first rounder to the future, and they gained 3 future thirds for 33. So Hawthorn benefited out of this. All works for all 3 parties. I think Sydney probably did the best because Taylor Smith is a gun and a proven key forward, an All-Australian, and a Coleman medal winner last year with Ashley Maloney in 2024. So well on to Tay, and good luck at the Swannies. Experienced key forward from the Suns, Jack Tupay, is officially a Hawthorn AFLW player, and Gold Coast get a future third-round selection. Now, in totality, Gold Coast have 8 draft picks, and there's about 8 academy girls that they probably really want. So in the end, it looks okay. But a few future picks are coming for Gold Coast today and in recent days. But in this trade in totality, Jack Tupay is a contracted player, a regular. I think she played 49 games in her career. She's a good player, good key forward that can pinch hit in the ruck. Gold Coast got shafted here. That should have been a future second, and that was pretty obvious for me, or a current second-round pick that Hawthorn may have had at the time. But either way, one or the other. For Hawthorn, I don't want people to underestimate this move. Jack Tupay is going to help Hawthorn on so many levels in the ruck and up forward. When Lucy Wales needs to chop out, Jack Tupay can do that and do a solid job of that. Anya Madonna finally gets the key forward support that she's been desperately needing. That means fringe players like Butterworth, who's now off to Saints, Ellie Simons and Jess Vukic, they don't need to play them because Tupay is going to partner up with Madonna up forward. And even if Lucy Wales was out through injury at some point in time, Tupay can play the ruck if need be. Obviously, that's not ideal, but I think that's okay for them. That's not the worst case. So this is a great move for the Hawks. This is one of the steals of the trade period, Jack Tupay to the Hawks, and this would structure their team far better. This is someone that the Saints should have looked at, like Mia Austin, who's went to Melbourne. Come on, Saints, what are you doing? But well done to Jack Tupay, and good luck at the Hawks. Right, so Hawthorn obviously win that trade for me. Right, now, my exclusive was proven to be correct yet again. 100% strike rate this AFLW trade period, just FYI. I said that on Friday night that Lily Rose Williamson will join the Brisbane Lions AFLW side, and she sure has. Lily has joined Brisbane along with pick 17 and a future second. Collingwood get pick 15, 29, and 47. So that values Lil at about 47, which they'll be happy with considering she was an injury replacement player. And they had 15 and 29 instead of 17. So 15 is a slight pick upgrade there. And a future second they give, but they get one now in 29. So I think Collingwood have done better here. Lil will provide good support in the depth of the Brisbane midfield. Apparently may not have been offered a contract by Collingwood. So, in fact, wasn't offered a contract by Collingwood. So, I mean, she didn't have much choice, but Lil gets some support at the Brisbane Lions to, hopefully for her, play alongside Ali Anderson and Valdors and everyone through the Lions midfield, Sophie Conway, etc. But time will tell. Well done, Lil. I think Collingwood done really well out of this, so they should be happy with that. Zoe Press is finally officially an Essendon AFLW player. Was it pick 6 or pick 13? Ended up being pick 13. The Crows got 13, 60 and a future third. Essendon gets Zoe Press, pick 50 and a future fourth. It depends where you value Zoe Prowse, which is around pick 13. So I think both sides got good out of this trade. Obviously, you'd rather the player, a proven commodity at the Crows. If you want to go back home to Victoria, or not back home, sorry, to Victoria, her partner's now playing for a Victorian club. So, you know, it is what it is. Zoe goes to the Bombers, and I think this is a really good get for the Bombers. And pick 13 from what the Crows were dealt with is a good draft hand to replace Zoe as well, as they did with Hatchard and some others. So people are saying, is it a rebuild of the Crows? I'm not sure about that. There's some good draft hands as well. If they nail this draft, they'll be fine. But yeah, Essendon did really well. Great move for both clubs. Ariana Hetherington has joined the Pies from the Roos. Future third goes the Roos way. Not a shock. Ari will get a regular game at the Pies. Their key forwards are, well, there is none really. Sabrina Frederick plays up there, but that's about it. So Ari will play every week. She probably should never have gone to North to begin with, but I'm assuming she thought Kate Sheila was going to play one more season when she joined this year. But Kate Sheila was playing on again along with Emma Carney most likely as well. So, and obviously Talia Randall's there. So it was a bizarre move for Ari to go to North in the first place, but she'll get a regular game now at the Pies, and Ari's a solid contributor and will play up forward and pinch in the ruck for the Pies as well. So on to Ari and the Roos future third. I mean, you take that, otherwise you get nothing. So one onto Ari and one onto the Pies in particular here. Now, Michaela Can is officially a Western Bulldogs AFLW player. The Bulldogs get Michaela Can, and they give up pick 26 and a future third. So the Pies get 17 and 26. This is a 3-club trade. So I just want to stress enough, Gold Coast helped out here. So the Bulldogs get Michaela Can and lose pick 26 and a future third. Collingwood get 17 and 26 for losing Michaela Can and 23. Gold Coast helped out and got pick 23 and a future third, tied to the Dogs, and they lose pick 17. You know, Academy Girls with the Suns, 17 to 23 doesn't really make much of a difference. In fact, it doesn't. You have to have a match within 18 selections. 17 is next to irrelevant in that case. 23 will help. And they get a future third for their trouble, helping out as well. So they did all right out of it. Bulldogs get Michaela Can, a proven winger and experienced midfielder at the Pies, but they lose 26 in a future third. Michaela's value is around that anyway, 26. So they did all right there. The Pies are the ones that confuse me with what they've actually brought in and what they've paused and everything like that. So with what the Pies have done, I really don't understand what the Pies have done here. They've basically sideways picks, lost a good player, and yeah, I know it's a bit bizarre. Not a drastically bad move, but I mean, she was contracted, so they should have got a little bit more out of the Bulldogs and Gold Coast in this case now. It is what it is. Well done to Mickey, and well done and good luck at the Bulldogs. Neve Martin is officially a Hawks AFLW player. She was contracted, so the Roos didn't have to let her go. But the Roos get 2 future third-round selections tied to Port and Sydney. Neve had the year off starting in Ireland, was a really good, consistent performer for the Roos over a time in the few years she was there. Unfortunately, didn't get to play in last year's winning grand final, was in the losing grand final. But Neve's had a solid career so far at the Roos, and hopefully she'll flourish coming back to the comp this year and at the Hawks. So well done to Neve, and the selection they got for her was around the mark. So well done, Neve, and hopefully you go well at the Hawks. Now, Mia Austin is one of the steals of this trade period, officially a Melbourne player. Carlton get a future second and third from Melbourne. You know, Mia was contracted. Carlton tried to push her out because they needed the list spots, and they still do. And they had a lot of other deals they were trying to get and that they didn't get. I think this is a really good move for Melbourne. Mia will replace Eden Zanker in the forward line. Sure, Eden Zanker's got a lot of runs on the board, but Mia is a young player who's performed really well over her time at Carlton, and is a future option, younger than Zanker, can play just as good as Zanker. So I think this is a really good move for Melbourne, and Melbourne fans should be really happy. And Carlton fans, if what you got was around the mark that you're going to get, you got a future second and third. If Melbourne were to finish around the top 8, you might get, say, pick 26 and 45 or something. So it's around the mark, but one on Mia, and good luck at the Demons. It's a great pickup, one of the steals of this trade, along with Jack Dupay, Mia Austin, a Demon. Sophie Butterworth has joined the Saints as a key forward option, along with pick 87. Hawthorn get pick 67 and a future fourth. I mean, late selection, played 6 games in 2 years, was a late draft pick. So the Saints just want key forward support. As I said at the time, Jack Dupay and Mia Austin were right there, and they butchered that. They went with Sophie Butterworth. I don't agree with it, but that's what they've done, and hopefully she can prove herself, because so far her worth at the Hawks hasn't been good enough. So I'm hoping it works, because we need Jessie Waller support and ruck support, which we didn't also address either. Hopefully Jess Good somehow leaves Carlton and we can get her, but I believe she would be contracted. But we need an experienced ruck now, and I don't know how we're going to get it because we haven't got anyone in the trades now. So it's a bit 50-50 for me. Brooke Borlow is officially a Carlton AFLW player. Met with Hawthorn as a backup option, an insurance option. Wanted to always go to Carlton, and the Blues get their player, Brooke Borlow. Adelaide get pick 17 and a future third, which is tied to Melbourne. And Brisbane helped out in this trade, and they got 2 future seconds tied to Freo and Adelaide. So Brisbane, for helping out, did what they did. I mean, I think Brooke was valued around a late first, early second anyway. So Adelaide got 17, which was around what they wanted to begin with, was around 13, 16. They got 17 and a future third. So I think all parties should be happy here. Carlton had a lot going on. They brought in Claudia Whitford and Lauren Bella as well, which we'll talk about in tomorrow's video. But look, overall, they did pretty well. And I think all parties can be pretty happy and move on from here. And Brisbane helping out, got 2 future seconds for their troubles. So just giving up, I think it was 17. So all in all, good for all 3 parties. Dana East is officially a Richmond AFLW player, along with a future third, which is tied to Gold Coast. So that could be around 45. Pick 63, and Freo get pick 40, a future third, and a future fourth. Dana was a regular before this year, but, just pushed out of the side because of Gabby Newton, Ashleen McCarthy, and Stanner was coming back. Yara Bowles was back for being pregnant the year prior. So, a lot of midfielders came back and a lot of players pushed into the midfield, which means she was limited for choice on the wing as well with Gabby Newton there. So more opportunity at the Tigers and she'll get there. So one on the Dana Reese. I mean, I think Dana is a proven commodity. So I think Richmond can win this trade as well. Now, some shocks that happened late that no one talked about until after the deadline. Maddie Torpey is officially a North Melbourne AFLW player. North get Maddie Torpey and Cullen get a future fifth. Maddie was ruck support at the Blues. Was probably going to be a free agent after today, but really happy for Maddie. When she's going to get an opportunity, she's been proven that she can hold it at the level. She's too good for VFLW. And in the few games for Carlton, she played as a second ruck, and I think she done her part. And North Melbourne, yes, it's going to be hard to crack in there, especially going to be in the position Ari was in. But nonetheless, Maddie, who knows, because some injuries to Kim Rennie and Emma King, they get 9 in age. Maybe they get managed a little bit more, and time would tell. It may actually work. So on to Maddie, and hopefully she goes well at the Roos. Now, one of the last few trades that went through, Lily Patterson is officially an Eagles player, and Lucy Boyd is officially a Poilade AFLW player. Both come from the states they originally were in. Lily's gone back home to Perth. Lucy's gone back home to Adelaide. Both swapped clubs, both in a similar position on the list. First-year players. West Coast got Lily Patterson along with pick 36 and a future fourth. Poilade got Lucy Boyd, pick 30 and a future third. So around the value of each other, very similar. They're basically effectively a straight swap, and Poilade got a little bit better because West Coast probably got the better player. So one the Lil going back home and Lucy going back home as well. West Coast apparently really rated her for a while. So we need to see where they fit her in the midfield crew or if she has to find another role. Now, the last trade that officially went through was Tilly Lucas-Rod is officially a GWS AFLW player. They have gone over to the Giants along with a future fourth. Hawthorn get 2 future seconds, which are tied to the Giants, and Brisbane, and a future third, which is tied to the Giants. So well done to Tilly. Hopefully they have a good career at the Giants. A really good player at the Hawks. Wanted to get them move over to the Giants, and they would do really well there, I think. And that's a player that Giants really need. But they should have given up pick 19 and not have to worry about all this and leave it to the last minute, because it could have come back to backfire on them, though, as well. Now, I mentioned all the trades that happened, but some ones that didn't happen is Collingwood AFLW have delisted Grace Campbell, Alana Porter, Annie Lee, and Georgia Clark. Now, they already delisted a lot. They lost Michaela Can. So all these 4 moves, all 4 of them baffle me why they did that. Really bizarre. I don't know what Collingwood's up to at the moment. They do need a changeover, but some of the names they've gotten rid of in this crop compared to the last 4 they got cut, all these 4 were really, really, really stiff. Now, Geordie Allen will remain at the Pies, their vice captain, experienced defender. They're probably really happy that she didn't leave, even though she wanted to go to Brisbane. Brenna Tarrant BT was set to join the Giants with Emily Pease from the Giants was set to go to the Roos in a 3-way club trade, but it fell through. Very interesting. Emily Pease to the Roos would have made them even stronger. BT to the Giants would have made them stronger. And Sydney, I'm assuming, would have got an early second-round pick or something thereabouts. So don't know why this fell through. I have a rough idea why this may have fallen through, but very interesting there. That would have been really good for GWS and North Melbourne had those moves happened. It would have been a big loss for the Swans. So I think the Swans clearly were the ones holding this back. Now, the one I want to leave you with, it was one of the big ones and the big talking points this whole entire trade period was Chrissy Lee Weston Turner, the former number 1 draft pick from the Western Bulldogs, out of contract. She did not go to North Melbourne. They improved their offer from 37 to future thirds. Along with that, Bulldogs wanted a future second. Now, apparently. So the Bulldogs, they say they value Christy Lee Weston Turner. You don't value anybody when you don't play them. She played 7 out of a possible 24 games in 2 seasons, okay? If you truly, truly valued a number 1 draft pick, you would play her all games possible. She only missed 1 through concussion, if that. So she was available for 23 games. She played 8 in her career, 7 last year and 1 this year. Don't give me anything that you value her, because if you valued her, you would have played her. So with the draft side of things, don't say you think she's worth the first-round pick, when clearly she's not. She's not worth the second-round pick, because last time I checked, players that you actually trade for in the first and second round play every week. She wasn't playing every week. And you should have taken North's offer, because now you're going to get absolutely nothing. North don't get her in the draft. They don't really care. They've committed to her They made the threat of not wanting to go interstate, Westo, and everything like that, and no other club. Hawthorn don't have a pick before North now because there's no live trading. The only ones that are a laughing stock is the Western Bulldogs, because number one, they've disrespected Chrissy Lee, Weston Turner more than they already have this year, and I've reported this multiple times. Now, for a number one draft pick, they're going to get absolutely nothing because she's going to go to North Melbourne via the draft. And then we're going to hear all the so-called armchair experts say, oh, you're making North stronger. Well, guess who made them stronger? North didn't make themselves stronger in this case. The Western Bulldogs are the ones that are going to make North stronger. So they've got no one to blame but themselves. They are absolutely a laughing stock right now in the men's competition with this side of thing and now in the women's. I mean, they've traded poorly over time. Michaela Cann's a good move. Outside of her, you drafted poorly. I only said in the last few years, Elaine Grigg was the only successful draft selection you've had in the last 2 years. And even then dropped off a little bit towards the back end of this year, which is kind of expected. But every other draftee, trading recruit, excluding Michaela Cann and Griggy, have failed. Simply failed. And you have failed Gabby Newton in the past, who was a former number one draft pick. You treated her like crap. She went to the Dockers. She left her home state to go to Perth, and she's succeeding at an All-Australian now. See, you don't know talent when you see it. And I guarantee you now, off the back of that, you're going to see Westo go to North, and she's going to succeed there. And that would be another failed number one draft pick yet again from the Western Bulldogs. They've failed a lot of first-round draft picks. Barwick hasn't lived up to the expectations. Emma McDonald hasn't. Palsty hasn't. So the only one that are failing are the Bulldogs. Maybe it's that culture and everything at the Bulldogs are what failing these players. Maybe they would do also well elsewhere. And time will tell for Westo at North or wherever it ends up going to be. And very likely will be at North Melbourne. But the Bulldogs are the laughing stock because now they're going to get absolutely nothing. They're going to say they acted tough and we wanted to make a stand. Yeah, you really made a big statement that you failed another number one draft pick. That's the headline. Not that you acted all tough. You failed a number one draft pick and you got absolutely nothing for a number one draft pick that was only number one 2 years ago. The only laughing stock is the the only laughing stock is the Western Bulldogs in this. No one else. The Western Bulldogs embarrassed themselves and they absolutely deserved it. Full club by club recap coming in the next video. Thank you all. Very hectic trade period. It's done and dusted for another year. The draft's not too far away. There'll be more draft content with phantom drafts and everything in between, and obviously covering the draft as well with a lot of posts on social media as well. Thank you very much. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and go Saints.